Welcome back to the Leaf the Lights On podcast with your host, Nicholas Principe.
And Luca Terzini.
Welcome back to episode 7. Today, we're going to be talking about the last 3 games, the Lilligren trade, and also tonight's game with Boston, a little preview, and whatever else we think needs to be talked about. So we're going to try and make this quick because we have a lot of stuff to do today with the election. But let's start off with the game on Thursday against Seattle. To preface, I feel like I say this a lot. I didn't watch any 3 of the games. I watched the start of the Blues game, the first period, and a little bit of the second, and then I had an emergency to go to, and then Sunday I fully missed everything. Thursday, I don't even remember. Thursday was Halloween. You can't really blame me. But yeah, so if you want to take away the game against the Sharks.
It was good because I happened to be sick,
cracking.
so I got to actually watch all the games and not have to be, because I definitely would have had to skip some if I wasn't sick, right? So
Especially this Thursday Halloween game.
yeah, exactly, right? So, no, the first game, 4-1, I think we played well. Again, it was kind of a while back now that you think about it, but like out of all of the games that we're going to talk about, this was definitely the best.
Oh, yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but was Joe Wall in net for this? Yeah, he was in net. Joe Wall was in net.
Yes.
He played good. I don't know. Willie got 2.
Matty got 1.
They left Willie open like 2 times. I don't know what Seattle was doing. Yeah, Matty got that pool shot. That was cool.
Yeah.
I think the team played well. I think the team played really well. Nye scored, I think, the other goal.
Yeah.
I think it was nice. Yeah, no, they played well. Keep more games like that, and we'll finish high in the standings. But that's really all I got to say about the game. I don't know.
Well, like I said, I didn't watch it, but just going based off the points, Willie seems to be heating up a little bit. He's got, like 4 or 5 goals in the last 6 games or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
he's heating up. Matthews, hopefully that goal will spark him, even though it's an empty net. Seeing the puck hit the back of the net could do something for his confidence. Who knows? But yeah, I didn't really watch that game. We won. I'll take it. You know, it seems like we played well from what I watched of the highlights and everything. But yeah, like you said, hopefully we can continue to have these games and Joe Wall continues to perform because 24 saves, sorry. You know, 960 save percentage in that game, not bad at all. I'll happily take that. It's a really, really good game. So we might as well move into the Blues game. So I watched the first bit of this. First period was decent. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. I thought we played pretty well. And then the start of the second, they scored their first goal, and the team started capitulating, and they just completely broke down from there. And then I had to leave like 7 minutes into the thing, so I think I saw the first 2 goals from St. Louis, and then after that, like I had to leave, but the team already looked like they were dropping. So I don't.
Yeah, like another thing about this game is I know we say it all the time, but I think I'm not 100% on this, but I think we got 3 or 4 power plays, and it's just absolutely doing nothing to the point where they actually went back to just stacking 1 unit, and they still couldn't score. And I know it sounds like it's just a circle of the same. We keep talking about every podcast. It's like the power play is still a problem, but it is still a big problem. And especially in that game because, like I said, I think minimum we got 3. Minimum I remember 3, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying you score on all of them, but 4-2, right? I'm not sure. I think the last goal was an empty netter as well for St. Louis. I think it was empty netter.
I don't know.
Not
to be
100% sure. I think it was though. But it's the same thing. We're losing these games, man.
Yeah.
It's the same reason.
Yeah.
It's just we have a game like against Seattle where you pretty much dominate the whole game. You have a really good game. And then you go in to St. Louis. Joe Wall deserves another start. You give him the start, right?
Hometown.
Berube is going and playing in St. Louis
First time, yeah.
especially after we lost to them.
Mm-hmm.
St. Louis isn't the greatest team.
Yeah.
They're good, don't get me wrong. They got good players like Kyrou and Parayko had 2 bombs.
Yeah,
That's
first
what
one
we
was
need.
a ripper.
We need shots like that at the point. That's he
100%.
scored, I think it was 2
Yeah.
bombs.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. Good defenseman. But you have a game like Seattle, and then you have a game like this, and it's like, come on, stay consistent. I know they're playing a lot, but come on.
Yeah, I mean, they said at the start of the year that we're tied for back-to-back games with the Devils or whoever the heck it was.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't remember who. But we have 16 backs-to-back this year, so that's 32 games that we're playing back-to-back, right? That's almost half of your schedule. So, yeah, we're playing a lot of games. We're going to get tired very easily. But it kind of goes back to what we said last week. Like, we played the Blues, and we got smoked by them. Okay, this time we didn't get smoked by them, but after we allowed the first goal, we just broke down. And, like, you can't be dropping points to teams like St. Louis because I don't think we might be the reason that St. Louis ends up in a playoff spot the way this is going. Right? They're going to get, like, if we play them 5 times this year, it looks like they're going to get 10 points off us.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we have to be, even, like we did against Minnesota, although we lost, we're going to talk about that, but like we did against Minnesota, bring the game to extra time, bring it to overtime, bring it to shootout, just get a point out of it because we can't keep dropping every single point in the game to teams like St. Louis and teams like, who did we play last week? Who was the other one? Whatever. You can't.
St. Louis.
No, but St. Louis and there was the other team we got smoked by.
Columbus.
We can't be dropping points to teams like that, right? Like if we go to Anaheim and we get wrecked, I'm gonna be like, what's going on here? Like, okay, we can do okay against teams like Boston, but this is not. I'm scared.
I think there's a difference between, like, again, you're right, but, like, for example, this game against St. Louis, again, like you said, we didn't get, like, totally outplayed. Mm-hmm. We lost, though, and like you said, against teams, you should at least get a point. But for me, there's a difference between playing badly against a bad team like Columbus, where you just get destroyed by them for some reason, and at least playing good and losing by 1 goal or 4-2 of an empty net or something like that.
Yeah.
But again, you're right. We shouldn't be dropping these games. And one more thing about that game.
Yeah.
Talked about this a little bit before we started this podcast. But I think this is the game where I can finally say that the third line is just doing cardio. I think we can all admit that Domi isn't the greatest of players, and he's not one that can carry a line. Like, he needs good players around him to play better than he has been playing. Like, let's be honest. On that line, he's done nothing. Right?
Yeah.
He's done absolutely nothing. And could he shoot more and maybe produce? Like, I know he hit the post against, I think it was Seattle or St. Louis. He hit the post one of those games. But I look at Holmberg and I look at McMahon, and it's like what are they really doing? Especially McMahon. Like, I was talking about this, and I'm not going to go too much in depth into it because I talk about it all the time, but people give Robertson the end of the stick for just being a scorer, and when he's not scoring, he's useless, which in my opinion isn't true. But why can't we say the same thing about Bobby McMahon? He's goalless in 8 games. What has he done? If he wasn't a big body, he wouldn't be in this lineup.
I agree with you.
If Robertson was the same height as him, Robertson would be in this lineup 10 times out of 10.
I agree. No, I fully agree. And even Berube said it himself. He's like, quote, Bobby McMahon's recent play, it was going well, then it kind of dipped a bit, which is so true. Like, the start of the
100%.
year, the first 4-5 games of the season, I was even saying, like, I'm not too fussed because he seems like he was forechecking, he was putting the points up. Now it's completely lackluster.
Just like
the whole third line, like you said, they're just out there sprinting around, doing cardio. Like, it sucks because I praised our depth scoring at the start of the year. Like, literally, like 4 games in, I praised it.
Me too.
And now it's obviously you're gonna go through those stints of some scoring, some not scoring, but
this was consistent, like, not scoring.
Yeah, this is quite consistent, and it's giving me flashbacks to, like, last year and the years before, where
it's exactly last year.
The third line would come out blazing for like a week, and then be off for 3 months. Like, I
don't want to pick on him.
Yeah.
Because the whole line hasn't played well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even when Robertson's came in, like, I like Robertson's game. Again, we've said we've liked his game, but at the end of the day, he's not putting up the points. So we all have to kind of put them into one kind of gathering and say, yeah, you guys aren't producing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with McMahon is he didn't start the season, right? Because Berube said the same thing. He's like, he's not playing well enough. He's not going to start.
Yeah.
And then those 2 first games he came in, which is the New Jersey and the Tampa game, I think those were the 2 games that were his first 2 games, got 4 points.
Yeah.
And then after those 2 games, a couple of games after, he was fine.
Yeah.
But then after that, I'm just like, you just skate around, dude. Like, I know, okay, fine, you forecheck a little. But what, like, there was a play, we'll talk about it because this is the next game we're going to talk about. But there was a play leading into the Minnesota game where, and we'll talk about it, but I'll give the example what I'm talking about. When we were hemmed in by Minnesota, before they got one of their power plays, it was a delayed penalty. We were hemmed in, and that line was hemmed for like 2 minutes straight, right? And that's how they got the penalty, right?
Yeah.
He fanned on the clearance, which made them stay in the zone. And it's small stuff like that I look at, and it's like, well, all players do that. But when you're on streak like that of doing absolutely nothing, and especially that I already don't like I dislike you.
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
It doesn't help your case.
Yeah, exactly.
It really doesn't help your case. So we might as well move into the Minnesota game now that we're touching on it. So 2-1 in OT. Minnesota, they're 8-1-2 right now. They're having a good start to the year,
team,
right?
yeah.
So and I like Minnesota as a team, even when they weren't doing well. I've always had a little sweet spot for Minnesota. I don't know why, but I don't know. Again, I didn't watch this game, so I don't really know how it went. But I'll take a point against a team that's cooking, right? Like I will happily take a point against a team that's bossing around. So I don't know how did the game go?
Playing Thursday, playing Saturday, and then having the back-to-back on
Oh yeah,
Sunday,
this was a back-to-back. I forgot
right?
about that. Yeah.
I'm taking the point any day of the week. Like, you can definitely tell in the second and third period that they were losing their legs a little bit.
Mm-hmm. That seems pretty evident for even like before Berube with Keefe and everything.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
we always would lose our legs in the second and third period.
Well, the
of
thing is,
back-to-back.
I meant that in a way because they've played a lot, right?
Oh, they have, yeah.
Right. So like especially when you're coming on like a back to back, especially that third period, like Minnesota was really like kind of hemming us in a couple of times, and I kind of realized that was gonna happen just because these guys are tired, especially our top players that are playing, especially in a 1-1 game, right? So yeah, I'm taking the point every day of the week. We'll talk about what happened in overtime, but I just want to mention that we got a power play goal. So
Yeah,
that's a plus.
That's
right?
what I was gonna say. Yeah, finally our power play struck. Now
With the five forwards, actually, I don't know if you knew about that, but
No.
Nyes was actually the fifth forward. We didn't
Oh,
play
yeah?
with defenseman. So it was 5 forwards, and they scored. Now, again, if you saw the goal, which I'm sure you did, that isn't going to happen 100% of the time. Like,
Yeah.
that Matthews pass, even top players don't make that all the time, right? And then Nylander being able to find it on kind of like the volley
Yeah.
or in the air, that's not going to happen all the time. I'm happy they scored, but now they got to keep the consistency of that, right?
Yeah, that was like a goal scorer's goal. Like only
very-
certain players could make the passes to get the shot off.
Yeah,
and all that stuff,
it's
right?
very. You could tell that those guys get paid to do that, right?
Yeah.
But again, like I said, what happened in overtime, we'll go over that right now. But I'm taking the point, especially against a team that's
8-1-2. Yeah.
right. So
They've got less regulation losses than they do overtime losses.
right,
So,
so-
yeah, they're really cooking right now, and I'll take a point out of it too. Right?
but the overtime.
yeah, let's talk about
was the problem.
Maximilian Domi.
So I don't mind having Domi on in the overtime because he's a good player.
Yeah,
Knows how
he's
to pass. It's usually Domi and Willie, but I think he stayed out there with Pacioretty because they couldn't get the switch.
Yeah.
So Domi decides to actually make an incredible defensive play,
Oh yeah.
and he decides to, in Domi fashion, we can say, pass it to himself.
Well, he passed the puck to nobody though.
To the other team.
Yeah.
So, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson, I don't know what you're looking at, buddy. You've played amazing, don't get me wrong, but like you kind of got to read the play a little bit better here.
Yeah, veteran defenseman like that.
Yeah, you know that Domi isn't catching up to that puck. So he
Well,
goes
to
for
be
a
fair,
change.
it was Spurgeon chasing back against him, so it wasn't like Domi was guaranteed to not. Because Domi's not the slowest, right? He's not
No,
fast.
he's not
but
the
He's got
slowest,
some
but-
speed, and Jared Spurgeon's 30-something years old, right? And he's not quick, but it was more the fact that they were on the ice for a while before. Like it wasn't just like he just got on the ice.
No. It was a
right?
change that he had to do, but why would you take that chance? That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Especially if you're reading the play, which a veteran defenseman should be able to read the play properly, is Minnesota, 2 guys are still at our blue line.
Yeah.
Pacioretty, okay, again, he kind of needs to stay with Domi because if Domi does win that battle, he's right there.
Yeah.
But he was kind of in no man's land, kind of doing nothing, and he's not going to have the ability to get back, right? Because obviously it's late in the game. He's older, right? He's not there to do that. So it's kind of all 3 players could be at fault. Again, it's just like a stupid, tired mistake, I guess. Still take the point. Just would have liked to lose a little bit better instead of a mistake where you kind of make a good defensive play and then make it out to not. Like, dude, like...
It's like the Boston game.
Spurgeon won... Yeah, exactly. Spurgeon got the puck, sent it up, and then 2 Minnesota guys are just uncovered at the blue line, just skating.
Was
in,
it
and then-
Boldy?
Yeah,
Boldy
Boldy scored.
Yeah.
And then Stolarz can't do anything. It's a 2-1-0. Like, what is he supposed to do, right? He bit, but like I can't. He played amazing again, right? So
Well, yeah.
kept
He
us in
only
that
allowed
game.
2 goals. He made 31 saves, right?
But he's kept the net, right? He's right now he's still my starter. Walls kind of played well, but he's still my starter. But I'm taking the point.
No,
Taking
for
the
sure.
point. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, so those are the last 3 games. We can touch on the game tonight first, or we can end on that, and we can touch on the Liljegren trade.
Yeah, let's go over the Liljegren. Let's leave the last game. Let's leave the game tonight for.
Let's go! He's gone! Let's go! Finally!
And we got more than I ever thought. I thought we were gonna get a bag of pucks.
Bye, Timmy!
Hey, you know what? I wish him not all the best. But
I hope he has a great career in the AHL.
he's gonna.
No, I'm kidding. I can't say that. That's so bad. But
We got a third, a fifth, and Matt Benning from when I was, like I said, I was sick. I think it was Wednesday when this trade went through, right? It was Wednesday evening.
yeah, so before I could get the last podcast.
Yeah. And I saw it. I saw Liljegren got traded, so I clicked into the article. I can't remember. I think it was SportsCenter or something. And I'm like, we're probably just gonna get a fifth or a conditional pick for him. I'm like a third, which isn't bad at all.
Yeah.
A fifth, and Matt Benning, who, again, I don't know if he's gonna play.
It's a roster spot. It's a roster spot.
But still, yeah, exactly. And you're clearing the space. So when Yarncroke and Dewar, Hakanpää and Dewar, and even when Yarncroke comes back, whenever that's gonna be, it's gonna come up. But we can all agree that we wanted this to happen. There was no space for him on the team. Timmins is playing way better than him.
Yeah.
You had to get rid of him.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he's making not even half of what Liljegren's making.
Timmins. Yeah.
No, Benning.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
of
So
course.
we cleared, 1.8 million cap, which is great for us.
I think he was in the trade to kind of make the money work, but that's about it.
Yeah, I remember my buddy texted me Tuesday night while I just gotten home from after the podcast, and my buddy goes, "Oh, Liljegren to San Jose," and I'm like, "Great!" Let's, I'm looking for this article, blah blah. I'm like, it's not. I don't see anything. And the next day it went through. I'm like, "Oh, what? How did he know before anybody else?" I was so confused.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, I'm very glad. No disrespect to Timmy.
Yeah,
because
not at all.
You still have a future, right? You're only 26. You still got a decent future ahead of you. And San Jose isn't the greatest of teams, but you know what? They've produced a lot of great right-handed defensemen, Burns and Carlson especially, right?
Yeah.
So he could fit what they're doing there, and he could become what we wanted him to become over here. But the way it's going, and with what we got for it, I'm more than happy. So
him on San Jose, I think the trade worked out for both teams. I know, he's not gonna, as a team, San Jose isn't gonna do much, but he's gonna be able to play, and San Jose's trying to get younger, right?
Yep.
So it's a perfect place for him to be, right? I don't know how long the rebuild is gonna take for them, but I see San Jose being a half decent team in 5-6 years.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Just, I don't know how the rebuild's going to, be, obviously, in those years, but it's a player that they're looking for, right? I don't want to talk about this, but same like Robertson. Robertson's a young guy that a team like San Jose would kind of want if we want to trade him. So Liljegren going there is, in my opinion, perfect for him. Yeah, everybody wants to go to a winning team, but when your main concern is ice time and not playing at all, you don't really care where you're going, right?
No,
he just wants to play, right?
Yeah, and I don't think Matt Benning will play, because we've got, and we could touch on this at the same time. We've got Hakanpää coming back. We've got Myers already back. We've got Benning now. Our right side of defense is growing more this year than it has in the last 6 or 7.
Oh my God, we finally have a problem on the right side that isn't we don't have right-handed defensemen.
Yeah, we've got 5. Let me know if I'm missing anybody. Timmins, Tanev, oh my goodness, Hakanpää. No, right-handed defenseman.
Okay, because McCabe I think can play the right side though.
Yeah. But McCabe's versatile. But in terms of actual right-handed defensemen, Timmins, Tanev, Hakanpää, Benning, Myers. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm missing anybody, but that's 5, and you only need quote unquote to play 3 if you want to do balanced right left. So, like you said, this is the first time we have an issue of too many, and I'm very glad with it. So, who do we think, barring all the injuries, barring everything, what do we think the defense is going to look like? Maybe come end of season playoff time, barring any injury, barring whatever. Any trades, they keep these same 8 guys. Who do we think we're going into the end of the season playoffs with?
I
think we can make the playoffs. Sorry for my language. If we make the playoffs at this, I'm gonna have to bleep that. If we make the playoffs at this rate,
chicken noise.
Yeah, the chicken noise again.
If I were to say right now, if the playoffs started tomorrow, Because I don't really like if we get a depth defenseman at the deadline. I think that's about it. I don't think we're gonna go and make a blockbuster move, especially if these guys stay playing how they've been playing.
Yeah.
Right now, it's actually been Riley, EOL,
Yeah.
and McCabe and Tanev to have that total shutdown pairing, which I like.
Yeah.
And hey, it's worked. Keep it the same. Whatever. Don't change it. If it's working, keep it the same, right? But for the last, I think it's gonna be Benoit and Hakanpää, depending on how he plays.
Yeah.
Because Hakanpää we got for that reason. Now again, we were talking before the podcast. It's like, well, having two of the same style of defenseman, because Benoit isn't really a puck mover, and obviously Hakanpää isn't a puck mover either.
Yeah.
That's why that's why Timmins kind of fits with Benoit, because he's that puck mover and he's in a depth role, so he's not really playing as much, right? So it kind of works, and he's played amazing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not amazing, but he's played good.
For the standard that we set on him at the start of the year, he's exceeded it.
Yeah,
I would say.
by far, right? But I would probably say Hakanpää in that last spot.
Yeah, I agree. Like, unless you move like Tanev back with Riley and McCabe with EOL, I don't think those top four are changing.
Yeah, those four are staying there. Like,
As much as like maybe I would want to, because like I mean we did just re-sign McCabe, all right. But as much as I maybe would want right down right, left on left, if that's right down right, left on left is the case, I think McCabe gets dropped. As much as McCabe's played well. I prefer Benoit at this point in time. Like, McCabe's played very well with Tanev, and I'll give him that.
yeah.
But, like, if I had to say Riley, EOL, Benoit down the left, I'm then obviously putting... You know what? Maybe I'd put Tanev with EOL. I'd put Hakanpää with Riley, and I'd put Timmins with Benoit. Keep that last third line the same. Yeah, but
Yeah.
Hakanpää with Riley, because Riley can move the puck, and then Hakanpää's just there to bully. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what could be at the end of the year, but if we're going strict right down right, left down left, that's the lines that I would do.
I would actually, that's a good point, because I would actually want to see that, because I kind of look at Hakanpää like Luke Shen.
Yeah.
And Luke Shen worked really well with Riley. Just the only thing is, I don't know if Hakanpää can play those minutes, especially coming off an injury. Like, I don't know if he's going to be able to. Now, again, in game, like, he can play with Riley as much as they want him to, and they can kind of just keep switching it.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much they're gonna want him to play, right? That's the thing. I don't know.
You know what? What if we run 11-7?
I don't really want to do that.
I don't really
want
want to do that either. But our fourth line can get jumbled a little bit. Like, and the 7D allows more versatility back there, because you can then have Timmins and Hakanpää in the same lineup and kind of rotate what's not working. I don't really want to either, but it's not the worst thing in terms of where we are as a team right now, because our bottom six isn't producing, and they're not playing great. Nobody's playing great right now, but our bottom six isn't producing, and they're not playing well. But our defense has more, how do I word this, potential for growth and compatibility than that bottom six, in my opinion.
No, I got you. I mean, didn't we win with 11-7 in Tampa?
Yeah.
Right. I think we were playing 11-7 when Keefe was around when we won that series against Tampa. But would I be against if they tried it? No, especially how our defense has been playing, and we have a lot of guys. Like, when Hakanpää comes back, that means Timmins is probably out, even though I don't think Timmins should be out of the lineup right now, because I think he's been playing well.
Yeah.
But obviously they got to play Hakanpää because they paid the money for him to play.
Yeah.
Right? So would 11-7 hurt if they're both playing? So you can try things like, Riley with Hakanpää, but not the whole game, because you have that other defenseman that you can kind of jumble the stuff, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be against it. I don't know. I just, especially with guys like Dewar, Yarncroke eventually coming back. I don't know if those are they're gonna take up more space on the offensive, on the offense.
Yeah.
So I don't know who they would want to take out. I don't know. Would you take out McMahon to put in another? Yes.
Yes, I would.
But would he eventually be gone? That's my point I'm trying to make. Because right now, what's the bottom six? We'll get into it, but
primarily it's
Robertson, Domi,
McMahon.
We'll say that.
Reeves, Holmberg,
and Lawrence.
Camp, Lawrence.
Yes,
that's
those
7.
guys.
But
those
yeah.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
None of them Lawrence scored, and you know what? when we say the bottom six isn't producing, we don't expect our fourth line to score every night.
Let's make that, not at all.
That's not what we're trying to say here. We're just trying to say that, like, especially that third line, it's not doing enough. We talked about this at the beginning of the podcast. They're doing cardio out there. They're not getting any chances. They're not really getting scored on.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I'd say it's a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of nothing. And I think Domi's getting wasted down there. But then you look, it's like, well, he can't play in the top six because you're not going to change any of those guys.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to change the top line, which tonight Domi's playing there, and we'll get into that. But you're not going to change the top line when they're healthy. Right now, at least, because I don't know how long they're going to be able to keep this together, because obviously Tavares and Pacioretty are older, especially Pacioretty.
Yeah.
But Pacioretty, Tavares, and Nylander have played amazing together, so you're not going to get rid of that line, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of leaves Domi playing with guys that aren't really that great and aren't really playing that great now, which kind of makes him look a little worse.
Yeah.
Because I always looked at Domi as that player. Yeah, he's a depth player, but especially that he doesn't shoot, he needs to play with, like, Matthews.
Yeah.
That's why that line had so much chemistry last year, is the Domi, Bertuzzi, Matthews line at the end of the year. Because you had Bertuzzi, who was kind of like the nice, right? Who just went in there and did his stuff. I miss Bertuzzi, man. I know we couldn't bring him back, but I'm gonna be honest. I know it took him a little while to kind of start scoring and playing well, but I liked
the playoffs either.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I liked him
Bertuzzi.
though. And then you had Domi, who was basically the Marner on that line, who just passed, and you had Matthews, and then when he was scoring almost 70 goals, it was fine, because all he had to do was pass the puck and it would find a way in the net, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a whole lot of nothing right now, so.
You know what? Once, I don't know how long Yarncroke's out, right? But Hakanpää and Dewar have already been sent down to the Marlies, so they're going to get their chances to skate a little bit and,
Actually,
perform.
I think Dewar already scored. Scored a game. I think they already played a game. I don't know how many games, but...
Well, they're going to get their chance to shine. But you know what? When Yarncroke comes back, a line of Robertson, Domi, Yarncroke on the third kind of is a little bit scary, as much as I don't like Yarncroke. Because you got Domi, as much as he probably is more of a winger.
Right now, yeah.
He can play the center position, and then you'd have to drop Holmberg. You know what? Even if you put Domi, Holmberg, Robertson, and put Domi down the right, like he played with Bertuzzi and Matthews.
Play Holmberg at center?
Yeah. Like that line is, in my head, is good, because Robertson can rip it this similarly to Matthews. Domi can have that Marner-esque role, and then you've got Holmberg to do the two-way. Right? As much as they're all going to be two-way. You know what I mean, right? So,
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Because obviously this team, especially if we are in a playoff spot, this team is going to get upgraded.
Hopefully.
Right? Hopefully. Let me ask you this, though. You're not touching the first line.
Absolutely.
But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If the Leafs went out and got a legitimate second-line winger, or let's just say center.
Okay.
A legitimate center to play with Nylander.
Okay.
Would you do this? Keep the first line the same. Domi, your center. Nylander, and then Tavares, Pacioretty, and Robertson. Or your whatever, McMahon or Robertson, whoever it is.
I would. But you can say a legitimate second-line center, but there's a lot of legitimate second-line centers that wouldn't work, and a lot of legitimate second-line centers that would work, right? So, like, I don't know, Bo Horvat is someone, like, obviously he's got a high cap hit right now, but he's a legitimate second-line center that I think would work, because he is the two-way, and then you have the sniping and playmaking down the wings. But if you bring in another pure playmaker, pure sniper, it's not going to work. You need because Tavares is two-way to an extent. You need a legitimate two-way center on that line,
like
for
an
it
Elias
to work.
Lindholm, kind of like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even think he's a little bit too more the playmaking side. We need another bigger. Not bigger, like we need height, but I mean like a bigger body that can go in front of the net if we need. That's also going to come back on the back check.
See, right now I don't know who that is. I'm just using an example. Like if you did get a center that did work, because like right now I'm keeping Tavares and Pacioretty together no matter where they are in the lineup.
100%.
And I think perfectly on the third line when this team is all said and done, if we do upgrade the top six. Mm-hmm. Tavares and Pacioretty with insert your right winger.
Yeah.
Is a perfect third line.
I agree.
Right?
No, I do agree.
Just checking alone, right?
Yeah. I mean, a team that has Tavares on the third line in not his prime, but not his fully regressed stages,
Still playing well.
is still a great team.
Exactly.
So I don't know who would be that second line center that bring in. Like, Bo Horvat is one that I'm not opposed to. Obviously, making the money work would be like almost impossible.
How is New York even doing? Are they like middle of the pack or like
the Islanders? I don't know. I haven't checked, but I feel like just judging, they're probably like a team like us right now in terms of stats wise.
So Bo Horvat is at 8.5. So
yeah, like that's almost impossible unless retention.
50% retention. Just what are you gonna give up to get him? That's the thing.
But
is that really?
Well, I mean, more for money wise, because Yarncroke's making 2.5 or something. So there's already another.
Because I don't think we have a first round pick this year.
No.
2026 we do.
Yeah.
But that's definitely.
I'm not giving that up again. I can't keep giving up these first round picks, man.
The only thing is, like, if this team had, like, last year I was against it, even though I wanted us to bring in a legitimate top 4 defenseman like Parayko. I was against giving up top draft capital just because I didn't think the team was good enough. We weren't playing good enough. We weren't one of the best teams in the league. We were, but we weren't at the same time. We weren't playing like it.
Yeah.
I won't say we were frauded, but we were kind of frauded.
Yeah.
Like, I knew we weren't going far in the playoffs. Even if we did beat the Bruins in Game 7, we were going to get smoked by Florida. I thought there was no point in making a trade to make a trade, right? But this year, how the team, like, okay, yes, we've been inconsistent, but if we do just go on a heavy hot streak, because November we usually do good. I know it's still early because the trade deadline's in March or whenever it is.
February.
But, February?
I think so.
I think it's March? Whenever it is. It's near the end of the season, right?
Yeah.
So there's a long ways to go. We could be out of a playoff spot, and this conversation could be nothing.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen. We could be also first in the league.
Yeah.
Right?
Which I don't think that's going to happen either.
Yeah, exactly. But it all matters on, like, it's too early to talk about it, but it all matters on where we are, I think. Like, I would be more against giving it up if we were kind of like last year. I would only give it up if this team is legit.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately legit, if that makes sense.
Like, another center that I think, obviously, he had his couple games here, Ryan O'Reilly. I think he would also make a good center for that line. But if we're giving up another piece of big draft capital, especially next year, I can't have it just on a 1 year.
Yeah,
I can't have him expiring this season.
He needs to have term.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing about the O'Reilly trade. It was like a lot of people thought, like, even though he was a free agent, a lot of people thought he was going to come back.
I did.
Right? And even Achari, because Achari wasn't going to be much, and a lot of people liked Achari. I liked Achari.
I really liked Achari.
Right? Italian stallion.
Yeah.
But,
Achari on that fourth line now would be...
But it just didn't work out because they both ended up leaving.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have to deal with that stuff, right? Like, you gotta take the chance, I guess.
The only reason why I wouldn't take the chance, but I wouldn't give up the draft capital for just the last 20 games of the season and playoffs, because even if we were to go to the conference finals, right, we've got to re-sign Johnny and Mitchie. So you can't have another player that's a legitimate second-line center that you need to re-sign, because if we go to the conference finals, even if we get knocked out in the first round, that guy's not going to come back. And Tavares probably will come back, and Mitchie might not, right? So it's more because we've got so much money we have to give away at the end of this year that I don't want another 1-year contract. That's the one. If we're going to trade for a second-line center, at least give me 2 years.
2 years. Yeah. I totally agree.
So, you know what? We might as well touch on today's game before we end the podcast.
Yeah.
So today they're facing off against Boston again.
Big game.
I searched up the Toronto Sun. I don't need that. So a big game tonight against arch rivals.
And a big name is out. I said a big name is out.
The biggest of names is out.
Yeah. Which, to be honest, no matter how he's playing, you still want to have him in the lineup. But I think we can all say that there was definitely something going on with his play.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he definitely wasn't playing bad, but he also wasn't playing like Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, "Oh no, it's just because he's wearing the C now." They took the 300-pound C off Tavares and put it on Matthews.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this season reminds me. So far, this season reminds me of the season where, not last year, of course, he scored almost 70. The season before, where he only ended up getting like 40 goals or whatever it was, because he was hurt.
Mm-hmm. That wrist injury was killer.
Yeah, and I'm not scared of it because he's still gonna end up potting 40, which is fine. Because we said it ourselves, we don't really care about their individual performances. We care about how far this team's gonna go when it actually matters and how they do as a team.
Yep.
But I don't know. It's a big loss.
Oh, it's a huge loss. You're losing your goal scorer. As much as he's not playing, too great this year, right? And as much as it says day-to-day, it's an upper body injury, which could also mean that wrist again. And if that wrist is becoming more of a problem, he might not play. Not a lot of this year, I mean. Like, I'm not saying he's going to be out the rest of the season.
Yeah, no.
But that wrist it's like Wall's ankle, right? If it's the same reoccurring injury, it only tends to get worse. So it might have been good the first time, and, he was out for, 20 games?
Wall?
No, Matthews. 20 games last year or the year before with the wrist injury. It was like 15-something games.
Yeah, it was about that.
Good chunk of games. Like almost a quarter of the season, we'll say. All right? If he's almost a quarter of the season out and it was not too bad, the same reoccurring injury is going to cause him to be out for longer, maybe even half a season. So, I don't know. Hopefully he's okay, right? But hopefully more we can just get the win tonight because this is a game without your top player that you need to do something on 2-game losing streak. What are we like? We're like two and 4 in the last 6.
Yeah,
it's a huge game tonight, and we could have avoided all of this by just beating St. Louis, and I wouldn't be talking like this. But when you've dropped 2 games to St. Louis, you've dropped a game to Columbus. You need this game against Boston.
No, you need these points badly.
Like really badly.
Like again, Boston hasn't been doing good themselves. I think I don't know about now, but I know they were last like 3-4 days ago in the division.
Yeah.
So they're not really playing that well either. Like I remember, didn't Pasternak get benched or something the last game, or he was called out?
Yeah,
I read something like that.
Out.
So both teams are going to be hungry for a win, and it doesn't help that your best player is out.
Yeah.
Or okay, not this season, but it's Austin Matthews.
No, he's your best player.
He's your best player.
You can't say anything else, right?
Yeah.
He's your best player. Boston is 1 point behind us.
Yeah,
they've got 6. They're 6-6-1. We're 6-5-2.
So yeah, we both haven't played up to what we should be playing to. So both teams are gonna want to win tonight, and right now I'm kind of leaning to Boston just because
I feel
how can you not?
Yeah, I feel like we always lean to Boston.
You have to. I think I don't want my heart says I want the Leafs to win every night. That's obviously not going to happen. Now I'm hoping they play good because they've lost 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they at least get a point. Just get a point. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. Get a point. I know we got a point against Boston the last time. And hey, Matthews won't be on the ice to make a nobody pass.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
That's a pro. That's a pro.
I just saw this right now. Boston signed Tyler Johnson to a
I saw that yesterday, actually.
Huh.
Saw that yesterday.
I wouldn't mind a Tyler Johnson. Third line center. No. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I want Tyler Johnson, but I'm saying just looking at Tyler Johnson and what he's done through his career, I wouldn't mind him on the third line. Right?
How much? Do you know how much he's making?
I'm trying my best. It's not Logan. It's a min.
Nothing. Minimum.
It's a min. Yeah,
minimum.
This guy used to make $5 million with Tampa.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, he's 34, but
that too. I think we already have enough. 30+ guys on this team. I'm not gonna lie, so it's okay.
Yeah, but anything else you'd like to talk about?
No, just hopefully we get a win tonight. Obviously, hopefully I'm gonna be able to have the game on in the background while we're doing our stuff tonight. I'll probably put it on, and if we have the.
You might. I won't be able to.
Yeah,
I won't be able to. Just
see.
keep me updated.
I don't know where I'm gonna be. I don't know what's going on, but anyways, hopefully we get the win tonight. It's a big game. Obviously, we're at home, so hopefully that helps.
Let's.
Got to get back on the right foot.
Yeah.
We're kind of slipping a little bit again, so.
But
hopefully we get a power play goal.
Like you said, though, November's been good for Toronto in the past.
Oh, yeah, right.
Let's hope that it's another good November for us.
Yep.
You don't have anything else?
Nope.
All right. Thank you guys for watching episode 7 of the Leaf the Lights On podcast. I'm sorry that I didn't bring jerseys this week. I was kind of in a rush. But for next week, I will have them back, and hopefully we'll have more to talk about, and hopefully the Leafs will be on. How many games are in the next? Let's say there's 4 games. Let's hope they're on a 4-game winning streak by this point because,
hopefully, but
let's hope because I feel like I'm starting to get scared. I'm starting to get scared. We're only 13 games in, but I don't know.
I think it's a little too early for me, but I'm gonna be there soon if we keep dropping points.
Yeah,
so.
not that I'm scared.
No,
I'm starting to get there
I know
because
you mean, yeah.
This is, I don't know. We'll see how November goes.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching episode 7, and we'll see you guys again next week.
Ciao.
Take it easy.